Yes. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again on our third episode. And this episode is very special to me because in this one, we're going to talk about a very special place, which is called Salalah. And just to remind everybody that I've been working in Oman, going and coming to Oman for the last 13 years, but never managed to visit Salalah. But now I've got a very strong
Inshallah.
reason because Mr. Waqar is there and he's helping us understand what Salalah is all about. And because he moved to Salalah straight from UK, so he has got a very interesting perspective about Salalah. So, I'm just trying to understand that what actually happening there. So I think last two episodes, we talked about the overall the Salalah experience. Why did you move? And then we talked about there's some real estate projects happening in Salalah, and the focus was on tourism, and then the port itself is quite significant in Salalah over there and contributing a lot in the economy as well. So today we're going to talk specifically about what actually Mr. Waqar is doing there. I mean, what is so attractive about Salalah that he decided to kick off his project in Salalah. So, Mr. Waqar, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for this third episode. I know your flight got delayed, and so we had to change the timing, and you're coming from Muscat. So how's that experience in terms of the weather and, you recently came from Muscat now?
I think Muscat's a little bit warmer. I guess it's about just under 30, and Muscat was about 39, something like that when I left during the day. So it is a little bit cooler, good 8, 9, 10 degrees cooler at certain times. But obviously in the Kharif, it's much more cooler.
Right. So when you arrive in Salalah during this time, do you see greenery everywhere?
Yeah. For the rain has now stopped, so there's no rain. It's now the sun has come out, the clouds are cleared, and yes, there is plenty of greenery. There is no. Normally, when it's raining, the waterfalls and the wadis are full of water, and there's fall, but those are now stopped. But it's still green. It's still very lush green. I went to Wadi Darbat today, although the water is not falling, but it's still very green. So it looks very beautiful. It's almost like valleys in Scotland or Switzerland or even in Pakistan. It's very green.
And this is a very rare sight in Oman. Even to hear about, I'm feeling very excited about it, that you see a lot of greenery in that place, because I've driven a lot in around Muscat and been to Nizwa and Sur and obviously Dukum, that part of it. And obviously most of the land is quite brown, and there's very less greenery which you see. But when we talk to you and you say, oh, this is like, this is a very different place in Oman, and it is different, entirely different as compared to what we have got outside Salalah. So
it's not just Oman, it's the whole of the Gulf. I think I don't think there's anything like this where you see kilometers and kilometers of miles of mountains that are lush green. So and the ground, even the flat land, is green. So I don't think it's just Oman. I think it's the whole problem of the whole region.
Yeah, great. So what are you up to?
Yeah, so good question. I think there's two things, I guess. I guess we're seeing what is happening and what are the big boys doing and what are the other developers doing. And there's two patterns emerging, and then I'll explain what we're doing. First of all, the big projects. They're very big projects. I mean, there's one they've just announced last week called Salalah New City, 7 kilometers long across the coast, and there's going to be 40,000 homes, and there's going to be 1,100 hotel rooms. So this has been announced. This is just the most recent. This is not those that are existing. The Wataba project, which is the Abu Dhabi project. Then there's the Hawana, which is in now phase, 6, another few. Then there's Amazi, which is another project. Then So this is just a new one, and they're mega project. They're in their kilometers and kilometers and kilometers. So that on that side, we're sort of trying to emulate and try to look at the resort projects, and we've seen a few sites which we can access through the government. If you have a creative idea and you have the resources, they will give you land. So we're looking at resorts, but not of that caliber. We're more talking maybe 100 villas or that sort of size, maybe less, with a small apartment block. So that's on the business side of it. Then on the sort of consumer residential side, there is as we said many times before, that the GCC investors come here for their holidays, and they buy if they see something, because they look at it as an investment.
Sorry, GCC investors. Can you elaborate that?
Yeah, of course. What it is that the most of the action that happens in Salalah of real estate growth, real estate purchase, real estate development is primarily aimed at the GCC and other outside investors who are buying the assets particularly in the ITC areas, if you're non-GCC, as an asset, as an investment. Because what happens is that during the Kharif period, they either will use it for their own purpose for a month or so, then the rest they'll rent it out, and for the rest of the year they will rent it out to the Europeans that come. So a lot of these purchases are purely investment. It's like Mayfair, I guess, or in central parts of London. There's no one actually, they invest, they rent out and get a return. So here it's very similar. The pockets of areas that we see is actually either wealthy Omanis who are buying assets to rent out, or it's GCC people in the non-ITC and ITC area that are buying assets to rent out and for themselves. And then, of course, in the ITC areas, it could be anybody. It could be Europeans. I've met Poles, I've met Italians, I've met, I'm shocked at the country that are living and investing here. I mean, unbelievable European countries.
Right. Okay. And I just want to clarify this word called GCC. So in this GCC, you have got Saudi Arabia, you got Kuwait, you got Bahrain, you got Qatar, you got UAE, and you got obviously
Kuwait.
Oman. Oman. So like 5.
And Kuwait. Yeah, you mentioned Kuwait, didn't you? Yes.
Kuwait. Yeah. So 5 of these people, 5 countries you have got. So these people travel to Salalah during Kharif seasons, and obviously they have got the time of their life, and they would like to buy something over there, because when they see that there's a big surge of people who are 1 million tourists come to
this is what you mentioned. Kharif was 1 million.
1 million. Yeah. So 1 million people are visiting this place during Kharif season. So they just try to invest something either for themselves or they can rent it out. And that's how the value proposition works.
Exactly. I mean, the biggest people that are most of the Kuwait is, I guess, the most primary investors who I guess they're welcome. They have a very good relationship. They just build blocks, like 5-story, 8-story blocks. It's not a big investment, and they may keep a floor to themselves, and the rest they'll rent out. And it's just a multiplying effect. It's just row after row after row of these blocks, and of course the villas are obviously more for the sort of discerning client, I guess, who wants privacy and all that business. But absolutely, I mean, this is the catalyst for Salalah. This is what makes it lucrative. It's not just the well-off Omanis. The local Omanis, honestly, have a very limited capacity of what they can afford to buy. They're not in that sort of high-end caliber, but the wealthy are. But it's the foreigners. It's the they drive this market, and that's the difference between Muscat and Salalah, as we've said many times.
Right. Okay. And the GCC nationals can buy any part of the land, just like Omani?
Okay, it's a very good question. Of course, ITC anybody can buy.
Yeah.
In Salalah, I guess they can buy in most parts where there is what they call security sensitivity. So near an army security base, a major police station or other, so then maybe a kilometer diameter or something like this, where it could be seen as they can't, but But in main areas, Sada, Salalah, Akud, all these areas, absolutely they can. Absolutely they can. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think this is a very interesting thing to know for a lot of people, that these GCC countries are acting like a one country or a union with respect to this, that these people, either Qataris or Kuwaitis, they come to Oman and they're allowed to buy properties as long as they are not, close to the sensitive, entities. They can buy these properties anywhere. So that's how close these GCC countries are. That just shows that.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, as I said, they know the it's the weather. It's purely to do with the weather, Kharif. That's it. When you've had in Saudi or in wherever 10 months of 51 degrees, then you crave for the rain. and I was here when it was Kharif, and I went to the top of the hill that looks over Mugsal Beach, which is one of the most beautiful beaches in the planet. It just runs for kilometers. And I saw Emiratis and Saudis sitting in the rain. It was raining, and we've got these big umbrellas, and they're just there for all day watching the sea. I mean, obviously, we from the UK, you think, God, what, why? But it is it's a barakah, it's a blessing to them. They absorb that cool,
An experience of a lifetime. And especially if you're not born in that area, then you obviously you have got the craving for it. That when you go ahead, and it's unbelievable, view. I visited this project called IDA. The Our Global project.
The Trump project.
The Trump project. The last time I was there, and it was a breathtaking view when we stood up on that mountain, which is 130 meters, high, and you could see the Arabian Sea, and it feels like it's like a dream, And I'm thinking that during night time, you literally feel that you're not on Earth, because it's so. And if you have got the open sky where you have got stars shining and you have got the sea there, I mean, what an amazing view. So God has given a lot to Oman, mashallah.
It's very blessed. In terms of beauty, it's blessed.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little specific about your project. So if you can give us an example, and if you mind, you can open up a map as well, and you can
okay,
show
so
us.
Well, let me describe what the potential is, or what's happening is, right? There are, I guess, 3 segments that are profitable and that people could look at to do. Land here comes in 600 square meter blocks. That's the way that they sell land. Land is always sold
minimum,
in 600.
you're saying.
Yeah, they always come in 600 square meter blocks, and then you can multiply them, but you very rarely can cut them down. So you could buy 3, 4, 6. So that's the thing. On average, in most parts of Salalah, they're about 40,000 riyals for a 600 meter spot, and they go up to 150,000 and 200,000.
40,000 riyal for a 600 square meter land.
Yeah, and they go up to 100,000, 200,000, depending on location. So what you have an opportunity is that you can either build one villa on that plot, which you could build up to maybe 300. You can almost build 70-80% of the footprint. So you could build a villa, 2 floors, 3 floors, maybe 300 square meters, 400 square meters, less or more. So that's option 1, right? So that will probably cost you, as I said, 30 odd for the land. Then the rent, the build cost is around 150 riyals a square meter. So that's what I call mid-end. Yeah. So high end is 200, mid end is 150, low end is 120. So if your villa is 300 square meters, you can multiply what that is, and the land, it works out. Now, that sort of villa, you could probably get away with about 70,000-80,000 riyals. It's probably about 20. It roughly works about 30% profit in that. So that's option 1, which the second option is you take a 600 square meter plot. You take that 300 square meter plot and you split it in half and you build what they call twin villas. Okay, so those twin villas are probably around about 250 square meters each. Yeah, and you can work out the cost. They probably sell under 50, 60, something like that, which are then aimed at primarily the young new couple who've just got married, got a small job. That's their market. Then the third one is where you can take let's say a 600 square meter plot, right? So 300, and you could build an executive large villa, maybe 350 square meters on a large plot with a garden, because here they don't have concepts of gardens or front yard. They build on the whole area, you know. Also, so that is a segment which is looking more and more interesting. I guess it's not necessarily as profitable as the others because you're giving up a lot of land. So we're I guess involved in the executive farm, we call farm type of house villa, or a single one. That's what we're looking at the moment and we're working on.
So first and third.
Yes, yeah. I mean the twin villa is actually a profitable option, but what we're trying to do is trying to create a brand that is a little bit select and sort of higher value. So we can do that, but then we won't create as a brand value that we're into sort of exclusive, highly stylized, you know, good looking villas. So that's what we're doing. I've given you the numbers. And, you know, I guess depending on what the area is. So for example, we've seen some areas where you could get a 600-meter plot, spend, as we said, you could probably sell that for 180, 200,000, right? If it's in the right area, which is then a very profitable project, almost a 40% margin. And if you go into sort of areas that are where most of people live, Salalah or, you know, Sada, and you spend that, you're then, you know, it'll sell quickly, the margin is there, but then you're gonna have to do several of those to make money. But yeah, so that's the sort of projects we're working on in the residential consumer market, and it is profitable. The build time here is 7 months, right? So you can, if you have the finances, the plans and all the what goes in it ready, and not picking out when it's finished, everything is ready and it's stored, then from the moment you get approval to the moment you actually sell it, so it's a mosquito, that it's 7 months, that, which is pretty good, right? Which is, you know, I mean, you could do it quicker if there are technologies now that are coming in that you could do it, but I guess, to be honest, it's going to be 7 months, and I guess by the time you sell, 9 months. So that's the point, that the lead time that you work at. Planning permission is very quick. It can happen in 30 days. That's all handled by the architects. You don't have to get involved. Part of their fees and processes is in that entire process to do that. And it's simple. The fees are not mega. I guess, you know, to do everything, an architect would charge maybe 2,000 riyals, 2,500 riyals, depending on what the size of the project is. But yeah, you know, that's what's happening.
So the planning permission is the only permission you need, or you need any other permissions as well?
No. Once you have the architects are what they call approved architects. You know, every architect is on the portal, so they know who the architect is. The architect uploads all the information, and then really it's very quick. And I mean, I've heard you can even get it shorter and quicker. Obviously, if it's a big complex, then it might take a longer. But a residential thing, the architects are very good. You know, they're good established architects who have a good relationship with the planners, as long as the criteria are met. You know, that you're on about 75% of the footprint, you're a certain height, you've got certainly.
So how long you've been in the process? I mean, it's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4.
We've just completed the purchase of the land. That's where we are. Architect's drawings are done. We're just in that sort of about to put the approvals in, which we'll know very quick. So why we took long? Because we didn't really, you know, need a little bit of time to understand the Salalah market rather than dive into it. and we had opportunities left, right, and center, but we held back deliberately until we know exactly, in, let's say, in this area, who buys and why they buy. In this area, who buys and why they buy. You can't assume anything. Some areas are purely investment areas, some are purely locals. So we had to sort of get that balance so that we know who, as you know, you have to know who you're selling to. So that process is done. So now we're probably start breaking ground in the coming week, days, that sort of thing.
So what are the risks involved?
Yeah, I look. First of all, I don't think there's, of course, with any real estate project, you have the risks anywhere in the world you can be, whether it's London, Paris, New York, or Salalah. Those risks are something could happen, the ground could not be right, or something comes up, or, these are all these sort of construction issues, which we all aware of, right? Then, of course, I guess to me, the biggest issues I've seen is that you can't sell. Right, you hope you're going to sell in a month, and it takes 3 months or 4 months. That is one thing. But as with any asset, the land value is appreciating all the time. I think a lot of the properties appreciated 15-20% in 1 year here. So that risk is mitigated. How we're mitigating the risk is that if we buy a 600-meter plot and we build on 300 and we put 300 as a garden. Worst comes to worst, we can split that and sell that. You understand? So you've cut your risk immediately, because you'll be able to sell that straight away. So we're just sort of playing it a little bit like that, and not taking high risks in doing multiple projects and not expensive projects. We know that we can easily sell that. So we're being sensible. Don't do something that you can't afford to lose, if you know what I mean. You've got to be sensible. That's the best way to minimize risk is don't take a true risk. Be very calculated, and you've got to say, I've got to be able to sell this. So what we do, we've met a lot of local agents, local people, and said, look, what is the sell time in this place? What is the build time, sell time here? And they're saying, look, here it might take 4 months, but here it'll be 4 weeks. Here it might be 6 months. You might get a big profit, but you'll have to wait 6 months. So we try to minimize. In terms of building risks, what happens, there's two approaches. One, you hand the whole project to a contractor and say, I want this built, give me your per square meter cost. I don't want to know anything. I just want a finished product, as long as you've specified the product. Or you project manage yourself, and you bring in each person. So someone to dig the foundation, someone to pour the foundation, someone to do the rebar work, someone to fill the rebar, someone, like that. Now, of course, every element, there is a risk, right? The contractor might go off or disappear or vanish, or but if you've done your homework and you're really meticulous planning, then I think there's less chance with that. I think to be honest, the bigger risk is the delay in selling. I don't think there's any other real risk, because you're working with good architects who know how to construct. Contractors, they're very experienced. They know the lie of the land. All the specifications are high end. So the building failing or something like that is very minor. It's more the risk is so. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. So the interaction you have got so far with these contractors, or the companies, the contracting companies, how's that experience?
Okay, it's a good question, because you have to know that here what we have is we have different levels of contractors. And I mean, I'm not being racist, but unfortunately it's by country where the origins of the contractors are. So, one country contractors are sort of working at, let's say, 100 riyals a square meter. There'll be another one from another country, because they may have a slightly better reputation, are probably working at 120 riyals. So you have to know what quality you want, how good your project, how quick you want it to complete. If you want not to mess up, then you go for the higher end of the country's contractors. And to be honest, there's the locals, there's the Pakistanis, there's the Bangladeshis, there's the Indians, there's the Lebanese. So you have to pick and choose what quality you want, if you know what I mean. It's a strange thing. But I've been on site to many sites. They're all hard workers. They're all doing good job. They're all following precisely the specification. When they're laying the rebars or building the rebar frames, I can see they're doing high quality work. They're following, millimeter things. So it's just, maybe it's also who you get on with, and who you have a better affinity with.
Absolutely.
It is a people's game.
It's a human game. So you need to engage with them, and you need to build that emotional relationship with them. And if you got a good relationship, and if they're really good in working, then you have got a win-win. Otherwise, you might find a brilliant contractor, but if he's not going along with you, then you might gonna struggle after some time.
I think there is some tribalism going on here. The Omanis have some preference for one for doing this sort of work and another for doing this sort of work. They say, well, look, that nationality is really good at rebar, right? Work, but them, no, they're not good, or they're really good at pouring concrete, but I'm not. So, but you get to know, and I think project managing itself is probably where you'll save a lot more money. You might even end up saving 20 riyals a square meter if you're smart. But if you're coming for the first time, it's better, if you're doing one project first, is to find a good contractor and give him the whole project, then watch him every day and see how it's done, and then see who he brings in, and then you can do your own project.
Okay, so what is your vision in terms of your project? How many villas you gonna make?
I mean, look, the villa projects, to be honest, are really for us just to learn the ropes, to understand what it's about. And we are deliberately doing small projects. We want to see the nitty gritty, the devil's in the details done. And of course they're profitable, but it's a long haul to make good money over 1, 2, 3 villas it'll take. But really we're focusing on the resort projects. Our real vision is that we want to do really sort of boutique. I don't mean high end, but something unique and different, maybe 100, 200, 300 sort of beachfront places for a certain sort of market. That's what we're in the planning process of doing. We're talking to investors, to people that design these sort of schemes from different parts of the world, and the buyers. We have an open door of a lot of Westerners, Western Muslims, like us from UK and now leaving UK. And so we're talking to groups who might say, look, I could bring 20 families over or whatever. So we're looking at that sort of market, those what we call, it could be termed as the hijrah, it's those people returning to Islamic lands. And the good thing about it is you see that this government and the municipalities want fresh ideas. And if you've got the resources and you've got a really good vision, really something interesting, creative, eco or this sustainability, then you can actually be given land to develop. So there's no great upfront spend millions and millions of riyals. I mean, here we've seen a plot yesterday, 10,000 square meters, 2 million riyals. Now, someone will sell that privately who's got that, but if you have a great scheme, the government might actually give you land free. I don't mean free in that sense, but through some agreed mechanism but there's no like, I've got to lay out 4 million riyals or 10 million riyals. I mean, we've seen plots of land that are 500,000 square meters on the beach. I mean, you could not afford that. They're probably in their 10, 20 million riyals. So, but imagination and resourcefulness will get you the government on your side.
This is
there lies the opportunity.
Yeah, that's a very critical point, because this sustainability, net zero, and green energy, and Oman is working on green hydrogen as well. It's part of the Oman 2040 vision. So if you're talking in this language, they understand this language really good, and it will go really well with the ministers at the top level as well, because they would like to make sure that that this recycling part, sustainability part, which should be implemented all across Oman. Even in Sultan Haytham city, they're calling it one of the most smartest city in Oman. The agenda is like that only. Solar panels, recycling water, traffic system will gonna be managed by AI. People should be walking more, so you could see really good footpath, because I think Oman is missing footpaths big time. When you go out there and say,
What are
oh,
they?
everybody has got a car, so there's no need for footpaths. So, but they are putting a lot of trees in Sultan Haitham city in order to keep the temperature down, so people can actually walk. 15-minute city they're calling. So there's a
That's
same
right. Yeah.
phenomenon
I mean,
happening in there.
𝐬𝐿𝐻 in Muscat is that. 𝐬𝐿𝐻 is probably the most sustainable. But the new Salalah city that I just mentioned, the 7-kilometer, 40, that's going to be the benchmark of sustainability. So there are also some access. They're building a mega farm, coconut farm over many kilometers. And they're going to grow coconut trees in there. And the idea is they want to put pockets of eco apartments or hotels that are people want that eco environment, the sustainable environment for sort of relaxation spa. So they're trying to create a living environment that is unique. And so, for the right players, there is so many opportunities. I mean, there are so many beautiful plots and places available that they just want people to come in with good ideas, and they'll partner with you. They are very open, long as you're resourced and you have a good idea. So that's where our focus is ultimately going to be. But you need to sort of walk before you can run. But that's what we're in parallel working at. We're sort of doing that to show our we're foot on the ground. But in parallel, we're talking to the investors, to the buyers, and to people that do these good projects. So that's really where our vision is.
Okay, so before we conclude, you're seeking investors as well. So if any of the potential investor is watching this podcast, I mean, what message you have got for them?
I think what it is that there's a lot of people who have made money out of Dubai and feel that the market is saturated. They want some fresher, different sort of green pastures. So a lot of people that are diverting their funds are coming here. So we know that as a fact, right? So if those that are in that category are looking to partially invest in those, then this is a land where a property asset appreciation of land is very good. Then the returns on assets are very good, 30-40%, land appreciating sometimes at more than 20% per annum. So there is that thing. I guess there's a number of markets. One for the small investor who wants to sort of, maybe build something and then either keep it, sell it, or keep it themselves to get their foot in the door. Then, of course, there's those that are interested in investing maybe 100, 200,000 riyals to do 2 or 3 projects. We can work. And then, of course, as I said, the bigger projects of 100, 200 resort type of projects, or like an estate or a certain a compound type of projects, they are in demand. They need them, and they probably sort of 1 to 1 million plus type of investment. So you got everything from 50,000 to 200,000 to upwards. And we are not saying that yes, come and work with us investments, but we can guide people if they want to do their own thing, and that we can lease the experience we've learned over the couple of years. We can help people. But if someone wants to work with us, we'd be happy to talk to them. We're an ethical company. We're transparent. We're accountable. So we work in a very open way. And we have investors from many parts of the world: US, UK, Africa, Saudi. They're already investing with us in not vast amounts of money, but enough to do good things. So we have that because we've shown imagination, we understand the market, and we're de-risking it so that investor isn't any harmed, because it's an amana. Anybody's money is an amana to us, and we take that very seriously and have sleepless nights until we've given the results. But look, come and have a look. See the opportunity yourself. It's not Dubai, and it never will be. It's a relaxed, slower market. But there are people who've land banked here, and I know people that bought something for 15 a year ago, and they've sold it for 25 in 1 year. And it's appreciating very quickly. In some cases, they've actually doubled their money because suddenly a road has appeared. I know some people towards way past the airport, towards the to the port. They bought land for 7, 1 year, 15.
Mm.
So, there's land banking opportunities.
Great. Dubai, the most scare place they have got is the beachfront. Only 5 to 6% of Dubai is beachfront, and that's the reason they are trying to keep creating those beachfronts in the shape of Palm Jumeirah and Palm Jabal Ali and Jumeirah Island and stuff like that. So they are creating Dubai Islands and stuff like that. So over here in Salalah, you have got this virgin sea belt, which is like currently endless, because 3,200 kilometers of coastline.
Yeah, 3,000 kilometers of pristine beaches. So,
yeah.
I mean, I drive for hours just for the heck of it to see it, and I just think, wow, never ending.
Yeah. Plus the massive infrastructure which is coming, which is like the government is investing big time on the infrastructure as well. So infrastructure is coming. Amazing. You got beachfront, and you have got like 1 million people coming to this place every year. So the million
for 4 months.
for 4 months. Yeah, for 4 months. And so, Salalah is the tourism destination of Oman. The tourism.
What's important,
and not only Oman, I think the whole of GCC.
Yeah. What is important to say, that connectivity is what life is all about. Connectivity is growing every day. The flights, direct flights from Europe and other parts of the Gulf and Asia are growing every day. And it's ultimately the connectivity. I mean, I met someone last week and I was absolutely shocked. There's one flight a charter flight every day from Warsaw in Poland. Now, I was shocked that this is all year round. They don't come for Kharif, because what European wants to come to see rain? But they come for that, and there is a flight every day. Now, that really shocked me, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Italy is the same, Switzerland the same. The connectivity is growing daily. They've started 2 flights, one from Gatwick and one from Heathrow, now from London. The whole of Syria, Iraq is opened up. So the connectivity is growing, and that's what will make this place work.
And you have got an amazing connectivity in terms of the port.
Yeah, of course. Mega. East Africa is 2 or 3 days away and things like that.
So cruise liners must be visiting Salalah soon as well. So there's a lot happening there.
Yeah, I think that's in the pipeline. I think it's the issue of where the port is been designed for cargo. I think they're making a passenger thing, and then this is because the stopper, they don't have to go up the Strait of Hormuz like Dubai. They just clip it, so it's going to open more. Good.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
What a wonderful learning with respect to what's actually happening on the ground, and it makes a lot of sense, because when we look at it from the real estate point of view, we have ticked a lot of boxes there. It's just a matter of visiting. Do not only study on internet, visit.
No.
And Mr. Waqar is there, he will take you around, show you the places, meet the local people, get the vibe, get the Salalah vibe. And then
we will show you everything.
Great potential there or not. So whoever is listening, whoever interested in investment, and especially a unique kind of investment, which is happening in front of the Arabian Sea and one of the most busiest port of Oman. So they should visit Salalah. So thank you so much, Mr. Waqar.
And your LinkedIn is amazing. In fact, I learn a lot from you too. I just want to say that I learn a lot from your LinkedIn page. I always look out for it. So it's a very good resource.
I'm just trying to compile the information and connect the information. This is what I'm trying to do. That information is all scattered, but once we build a story around it, it will be much more easier to understand. So this 2020 and 2025 are these 2 years which needs to be compared.
Wonderful.
and people are really living in, pre-COVID era of Oman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oman is very different after COVID.
Very different. Very different.
Thank you so
Good.
much again.
Thank you, Mosi. Lovely to talk to you, and
It's
I wish you
always
all your
lovely
viewers
to
the
talk.
best. And keep in touch. To see you next week, hopefully.
Yeah. Inshallah.